But now begs the question that when you look at, do you guys understand the comparison? Yes. Starbucks is a coffee business. And this is, of course, Nestle barrels everywhere that share coffee. Now, before these Nestle guys came to Nigeria, who do you think was the competition of Nestle in such a way that they decided to start using this barrel system, or like a mini distributor?
The Messiahs.
The
Messiah.
Ice cream truck.
The Messiahs.
Okay. Messiah. And also you have, when you wake up in the morning, you're running to work, someone that sells pap, akara, those when you want to jump into the bus and everything like that. I may not stop by Messiah. That's the thing. If I'm rushing to the bus, I might take Messiah. So you have the Messiah, you have the Indomie, of course Messiah is Indomie, then you have the pap and akara. But when I'm even on the bus, I want to buy Coke, Gala, early in the morning. In the night, when I'm going back, or if I go out and I'm coming back very late in the night, or I'm going to like maybe night duty or something, I can buy something on the road. So the actual competition for, so you can take up the actual competition on Nestle, the Nescafe business, which I actually respect very much, in this case was not another coffee business. It was the alternative that people had when I wanted to get something in my belly. And they realized that as a Nigerian person, you know, people take coffee, black coffee, the rich guys, blame coffee, wake up in the morning. But bro, I'm about to enter a bus of 200 naira to somewhere. I'm not eating it, I think you can buy coffee of like 10,000. I'm not going to buy that kind of coffee. So, what they did clearly was look at the competition to what they were bringing to the market, and then walked around the distribution and positioned that you want instant, their promise, take word of that, their promise to the Nigerian audience was instant coffee anytime you want it. So you can buy coffee in your house, no problem. When you are going to the bus, you buy the coffee and you take it up between the bus. And that's not the first time that Nescafe has done something very similar. In Japan, when I went to Japan, what is familiar with Japan when it comes to drinks? Anybody?
When it comes
to drinks. The Asian called tea. So, you know, they came up with all the fanfare, let's open up in Japan and everything. But nobody was buying that coffee. What did Nescafe do? Sorry, Nestle. What did Nestle do? Nestle was Nescafe. What did they do? They started to make coffee sweets, chewing gums, very little things up and down. Since they agreed that they had lost maybe the older generation, the younger guys, younger small children, started to give them those sweets. Very soon, the older people started to like take on the sweets, the coffee sweets. And what that did was that it helped to drive a behavioral change in the taste buds of those people. So it was first, I tasted this coffee sweet, it's nice. So when I taste normal coffee, it doesn't feel strange to me. And that was how they entered the market. Is anybody following me on this?
Yes.
So, everything around the Nestle example stems from a promise. When you want to build out a competitive advantage for your brand, the question you have to answer is what's your promise to the customer? What's your promise to your serving? Your promise is how you then go on to define your target audience, you define your pricing strategy, you define every single thing of how you enter the market. Now, the way you deliver that promise change, but the promise will remain the same. The earlier speaker was talking about how Coca-Cola's bottle has changed. But Coca-Cola's promise has always been open up the bottle of happiness. So whether the bottle changes to a can or anything, that is why even when you see Coca-Cola's adverts, it is built around happiness, people sharing together, families. If you see their campaigns, always like share a bottle of Coke, get a Coke, share a Coke with a friend, because that is the promise that they make with that bottle. Are you with me? Yes. So for this talk, I am going to use a case study of the brand that we all know. I assume that we all know. Some people that are very rich in the knowledge brand. How many of us remember Cowbell, and everything like that? Now that story goes back as far as 1993. That was when Cowbell came to Nigeria. And the entirety of how Cowbell built its competitive advantage is something that I want all of us to learn from. I'll also touch on brands like cowrie-wise and Senua, and explain how Cooperative Advantage works for you. I hope I have enough time. I'm supposed to end this by 1:55, but we'll try and make sure it happens before. Good. And if you have any questions at intervals, so that we don't wait till the end, I will stop. I will take questions so that we can just make it all interactive. Good. And I'm not going to stay here all through. We have. So I'll just walk around so that we're all in review. Great. So when cowbell started in 1993 in Nigeria, we're in Tomasino, by the way, there was pig milk in Nigeria. I think there was Nido also, and they were like the big boys, you know, liquid milk, some of them powder. There was nothing competitive there for them. But cowbell has come to the market and become the milk of the people, like the one that anybody could afford. The problem that people had then with milk was you had what they call, because made of full fat cream milk. It was made with animal fat, and that means the milk did not last as long as it's supposed to last. So what cowbell did was decided to use vegetable fat, which was not just only cheaper, it made the milk last longer for them. Cowbell was also the first brand to start selling milk in very small sachets, I think 2.5 gram sachets. Now, if you walk back to the promise, they wanted a milk for the people. That means a milk for the masses. The masses could not afford tin milks. The masses could not afford big sacks of milk. So that informed their decision to first of all try to give very small sachets of milk. How did they come about that? Before coming to Nigeria, they had worked in Zimbabwe, which is where Tomasino started from. The founder of Tomasino is actually Zimbabwe. Started from, and they started with 100 gram sachets of milk. It didn't sell for months. And when they brought it down to 2.5, they sold about I think 750 million units in a few months. You understand? So that's how like they learned that if you wanted to make a milk for the people, it had to be something that I could just wait, take a sachet. I mean, back then, one sachet of cowbell had so much cream that you could make at least maybe maybe like 2 liters and all like that for you. So I could pour like 2 sachets, mix it with water, and everybody in the house would have milk. You understand? So that was the promise that they walked around. And if you traveled around Nigeria a lot, between 1999 to say 2008 by road. How many people travel by road a lot? I'm not old, don't because is that? Okay, let me know a lot, but if you, has anyone traveled from Lagos to Abuja by road before? Is that? Almost. It was hell, right? So yeah, hell, right? Because the time it was 6 hours, from 6 hours it moved to 9 hours, now it's about 18 hours to get to Abuja. But if you were going by road, you will notice that you see some houses branded, cowbell, all those things. Do you understand the reason behind that? So, back to when cowbell started, 3 people brought cowbell to Nigeria. They didn't have so much money to bring into the market. So what they did was that on every pole that, by the way, the cowbell that you see today that has like the big master everything, they said that Mushin at the back of the owner of Tomasino, his wife would open the boot of the car to sell cowbell at Mushin and at Agege. Bear in mind, they were not Nigerians. They will open their boot there, just make it clear, this milk, one type of milk will give you 1 liter, and it is 10 naira. That's how they decided to sell cowbell to people. Like it is 10 naira, 1 liter of milk gives you this amount, 1 liter of milk. So it was a promise that you did not need to spend so much to get quality milk or to get the right vitamins to grow your business. I'm hammering on this promise because when we start to talk about distribution and everything, your strategies for distribution, you see how it ties back to the promise. Now, because they were speaking to the masses, how many people could afford televisions in 1993? How many people could afford going to shows in 1993? I mean, the country was not as bad as this, but there were still poor people and people could not afford a lot of things. So as opposed to spending on TV ads and deciding to grow, they decided to something like on the poles. I don't know how to describe this right now, but you know when you beat a drum into a circular shape and you use it like you hit it on a pole, they will print cowbell logos or paint cowbell logos on them and just write cowbell, our milk, and they'll post it on all those poles. Then later on, people that had houses in local areas reach out to them to say, can we paint your house for you? I'm living in a house, in a mud house, just cement, there's no paint. You paint inside for me, maybe white and everything. Outside, you tell me that we'll paint your house cowbell. In fact, Indomie duplicated that strategy sometime later on, where they're traveling across Nigeria. You just see very many people, their house is Indomie, they just painted Indomie. It was all a marketing campaign. So to get the masses to actually buy into them. So because the promise was wanted to serve the masses, the channels of their advertisements were not focused on the expensive things like TVs. It was everyday things that people will see. I'm standing by the bus stop, I want to enter a bus, I see a pole here, I see a sticker. They use sticker also, by the way, cowbell, milk. I'm inside the bus, inside the downfall, at the back of the downfall seat, someone has put cowbell, milk. So they went viral with that entire thing. I mean, today everybody knows cowbell, but this is how that thing started. Because they wanted to invest and make themselves that slogan, milk. Do you understand? So I've said two things right now. If you want to start a brand, the very first question you need to ask yourself is, what is your promise? And how do you go about your promise? There's something called a value prop matrix, and I'll explain to you how it works right now. I'm sorry I didn't do any slides. I don't like slides because I think they confuse people sometimes. I like to interact with people and teach. If there was a board, I would have preferred to draw out for you all to see. But this is how a value prop matrix works. You have three columns in a value prop matrix. You have the existing alternative, that is the bad alternative. There you have. So it's four columns. The existing alternative. Let's give it three columns. The existing alternative. You can call it the bad alternative. Then you have your solution on the second column. And on the third column, you have what you call your action statement. Are we following? Great. Now, in the case of cowbell, the bad alternative was expensive milk that spoils within 5 days. No, maybe like I say within 30 days. So expensive milk that spoils within 30 days. And cowbell came up with a solution to say instant powder milk that can last for 5 months, 6 months, that kind of thing. And of course, the action statement was, it could be, you can tell the action statement. The action statement in their own case was cowbell and milk. But basically, the action statement was cowbell, a milk made for the masses. Do you understand that? Are you following? Yeah. If you get confused, just let me know. So if today you want to take your product to market, the very first thing you need to ask yourself is, what are the alternatives that exist? You can call them bad alternatives. Now, what is bad about them that you want to fix? And what is your solution? From your solution, you will then build out your action statement. Your action statement is what you go on to use in marketing campaigns, your taglines, all those things that brands do. For example, Carrywise says, get your money working. All those things came from understanding the bad alternative. The bad alternative for a product like Carrywise, for example, was your money sitting in your bank, earning probably 1%. Carrywise is saying, bring your money to us, you earn better returns, and you don't touch it. You don't touch it anyhow. That way your money is working for you, and you then land at the point that says, get your money working. That's the action statement of Carrywise. Do you understand that? Similarly, like now, a brand like Senoa, for example, says that, oh, you want to get dollars everywhere, people are giving you a spread of 10%. Senoa is saying, we'll give you 1%, so get cheaper dollars with your brand. So once again, I'm going to ask somebody, by the way, so that it's not like I'm just talking to myself. You tell me your company, so you have been writing. I said you are pretending to write. Who that have been writing since? I'll give you the mic now. You tell me the name of your company. Let me just give you guys 1 minute to do that. So I'll just go on randomly. You tell me the name of your company. You don't need to mention the name of the bad alternative. Just tell me what bad alternative exists and what your solution is. The truth is that sometimes you cannot get your action statement until months after, because it can be very long and you start to shorten it gradually. So who wants to take a stab at this? Okay, let's try it. Thank you. What's your name? Sir?